What kind of demon would cause turmoil throughout the entire city? This is it, Yentan, Yentan. A little faster, people can't take it anymore. You people handle things like this. You treat human lives as if they were grass. We are almost there, on the way, just wait a moment. How many times have I said it? What are you guys doing? The director angrily slammed the table. This case cannot be solved. Resign immediately due to responsibility. What kind of suspect is it, after all? During meals, police must give a checkup before one can eat. This is Lanzhou City, Gansu Province. A certain urban village in Shigu District. A 30-year-old middle-aged woman. She was found tragically dead at home. There is a large amount of bloodstains on the ground. There is a middle-aged woman with her lower body half naked, lying on her side on the ground. Preliminarily, this. After the examination of the body, multiple sharp weapon wounds were found on the neck. Each of these knife wounds is quite severe. It gives the impression that each knife wound was fatal. The criminal suspect was very ruthless. However, the reason for the victim's death was only 30 yuan. Sell once. Because only 30 yuan was accepted. So, they are all from the underworld. The people at the bottom are indeed very poor. Do you think he only killed one? The high-energy moment has arrived. Kill once. Second kill. Third kill. Fourth kill. They are holding a knife in their hand. The subtitles have crashed. You come here, can't I stop you? He just said some nonsense to my wife. Just say I'll kill each of you one by one with a knife. Do you think the ruthless people in Gansu are only Gao Chengyong? Today's tough guy will definitely refresh your understanding. His mother gave birth to 7 sons. He is the youngest one. Nickname, Shui Lao Chi. So he was determined to kill 7 people. The content is quite lengthy. Please prepare some sunflower seeds and peanuts. Let's go to the crime scene to learn about Shui Lao Chi. Date, April 28, 2013. Location, Shigu District, Lanzhou City, Gansu Province. On that day, the 110 Command Center received a police report call. The caller appeared to be very panicked. I want to report a crime. This is Shigu South Street. Number. There's someone with a hammer. They might have stabbed someone. Who stabbed with the hammer? Oh, I'm not sure either. Anyway, there's someone lying in the room. There's blood all over the floor. A woman. I put him in a courtyard. Immediately. A large number of police and forensic technicians rushed to the scene. According to the caller's recollection, at the time of the incident, the first to notice something was off. It is the wife of the person who reported, Xiao Lu, Xiao Zhang. At that moment, Xiao Zhang heard fighting sounds coming from the victim's room. She got up to check. When she opened the door, the horrifying scene in front of her made her heart race. A scene that could only appear in a movie. She witnessed it with her own eyes. She saw a man holding a knife, covered in blood. He was frantically stabbing the victim. At this moment, the culprit also noticed Xiao Zhang, who had opened the door. He looked up in surprise. Xiao Zhang instantly burst into tears. While crying, she ran to the neighboring yard to seek help from her husband. I looked at the ground. There was blood on the ground. But when I saw that blood stain, I felt a bit scared inside. I was somewhat frightened by that smell. I quickly made a phone call. While calling the police, Xiao Lu also chased after him with the neighbors. But after walking just a few meters, they stopped. The crazed culprit pulled out a knife and lunged at the two. Xiao Lu stepped back. The culprit did not pursue. At the same time, when they saw the thug with a knife, they didn't dare to chase anymore. In the end, helplessly watching the murderer disappear at the end of the road. After preliminary investigation, the police. The crime scene is a 2-story courtyard with multiple residents. Most of the residents inside are migrant workers. The center of the crime scene is very shabby. The victim is lying face up. His lower body was half naked, lying beside the bed. But there were no traces of adhesive. Inside the house, the police did not recover any valuable fingerprints. Based on the suspect's escape route, the police reviewed the nearby surveillance footage. Look. Took out a towel to wipe the bloodstains on the pants. Holding a white bag in his hand. The blue clothes. The jeans are at this part near the door. There was a person signaling him. Someone was there. Just approached by a shadowy figure. At that time, a simple conversation let him in. 7 minutes. He stayed for just 7 minutes. The murderer completed the homicide within 7 minutes. What happened in these brief 7 minutes? Who could the shadowy figure that signaled the criminal be? Through further investigation, the victim was named Ame. She was a villager from a small village in Wushan County, Gansu Province. Investigators found the victim's mobile phone at the scene. There were several missed calls on it. According to the investigation, these missed calls were all made by Ame's husband. But when the investigator asked about Ame's occupation, the husband was hesitant, continuously avoiding, and stated that Ame had just arrived in Lanzhou half a month ago. He also never mentioned having any enemies in Lanzhou. However, while the police were interviewing nearby, he still had some knowledge about Ame's profession. He usually doesn't go out to work. During the day, he just stands in the alley at the entrance. Whenever she met men passing by, she would strike up a conversation. Then she would lead the men into her rental apartment. Through identifying the surveillance footage at the scene, the neighbors all stated that they had never seen this person before. In addition, Ame is very poor. The suspect certainly wasn't after money. Crimes of passion and revenge have been ruled out one after another. So what could the motive of the killer be? To gather more clues, the Lanzhou police expanded the scope of surveillance footage investigation. Through time deductions, soon, they discovered the suspect's movement path. After the suspect committed the crime, turned into a small alley. And this is a surveillance blind spot. The investigators accessed nearby all available surveillance footage. However, no trace of the thug coming out was found. Since there were no clues from the surveillance, the police decided to conduct a field investigation in the surrounding area. The task force quickly mobilized over 100 elite officers overnight, using the crime scene as the center. Within a 10-kilometer radius, carry out a carpet-style grid search in the area. As soon as the criminal investigation work in Lanzhou was carried out, while the work was proceeding anxiously, on the night of the crime, the Lanzhou traffic police also received a report of a serious traffic accident on Yantan Road in Lanzhou. That occurred. There were many cars on the road at the time. A street camera captured the events as they unfolded. Not long after the accident occurred, the 120 Emergency Center also received a series of emergency calls. 10 minutes after the incident, police cars arrived at the scene, but the ambulance had not yet arrived. The crowd at the scene was very anxious. You people, let me tell you. You treat lives like they are nothing. You really are terrible at your job. Let me tell you. 15 minutes after the incident, the ambulance finally arrived. It was then that the crowd realized that there was also a seriously injured person in the ambulance. That on a road less than 500 meters from here, a car accident also occurred at the same time. The ambulance was delayed while providing emergency care, which caused the delay. Traffic police quickly conducted an investigation at the scene. There were some glass shards at the incident site. The police determined that these were left by a minivan that hit someone. Meanwhile, another group of traffic police arrived at the hospital. There were a total of 3 injured. Among them, 2 had died due to severe injuries. They were pronounced dead after unsuccessful resuscitation. According to the footage recorded by the surveillance cameras, the police discovered the driver's actions of this vehicle were truly bizarre and unpredictable. It seemed like he was always trying to crash into pedestrians on the side of the road. His driving pattern was very illogical. Meanwhile, the surveillance at another intersection clearly captured the suspect's facial features. A bald man in deep black clothing. There was a white bag next to him. Based on the license plate number, the police quickly identified the owner of the vehicle. It's definitely not mine. I also don't know what's going on. Anyway, I just feel like it's a scam. The car was just sold. It seems like someone knew this information. The car was just sold. They said there was a car accident. They were trying to extort me. It turns out that the owner had just sold the car that morning on the day of the incident. The next day, he received a call from the police. He thought it was a scam. He even joked with the police on the phone. It wasn't until the police showed up at his door that he realized something truly had happened. Based on the information provided by the owner, the police also quickly found the new buyer. The buyer said that after he purchased the car, he parked the small truck in the parking lot. He had just discovered that the vehicle was missing. He was about to go report it to the police. The police assessed the situation at the scene. The testimony of the parking lot attendant gradually eliminated the suspicions of the original owner and the new buyer. The surveillance footage shows, at 4:30 p.m., the owner parked the car. Half an hour later, a person suspiciously appeared next to this car. He was also holding a white bag in his hand, then stole the car. Following the surveillance footage, the police deduced the movement path of the car, discovered that he hit 2 people in Yantan, then drove the vehicle onto the highway. According to the owner, the gas in this car was only enough to drive about 100 kilometers, while the suspect wandered in the urban area of Lanzhou. He wandered almost 70 kilometers. This indicates that he wouldn't have been able to go far on the highway. Based on this, the police quickly set up controls at all nearby exits. But the strange thing is, this car hasn't been seen since it got on the highway, has never appeared again. By this time, 3 days had passed since the incident. All leads have been cut off. In order to quickly find the suspect, the Lanzhou traffic police planned to leverage the power of local media. While publishing a reward notice in the newspaper, they are also widely distributing a cooperation notice in the busy city center. Meanwhile, the investigative work of the Shigu criminal police is also progressing intensively. The criminal police have also coincidentally thought of leveraging the power of the media to continue following an urgent cooperation notice. Around 2:00 p.m. on April 28, on South Street, Shigu District, Lanzhou City, a homicide case occurred. If you have any clues, please contact us promptly with the Shigu branch of the Lanzhou Public Security Bureau, and reach out to the criminal investigation team. After investigation, it was determined that the suspect is a middle-aged man, around 40 to 50 years old, about 75 meters tall, and has relatively sparse hair. He was wearing a dark suit on top, and blue jeans on the bottom, wearing Chelsea boots, carrying a folding knife with him, and a light yellow woven handbag. Therefore, we ask all driver friends and citizens, during daily commutes, pay attention to clues about suspects. On the 4th day after the incident, a duty police officer discovered the broadcast issued by the criminal police. The suspect's physical characteristics matched those of their wanted suspect. They were exactly the same. The 2 departments quickly summarized the clues. After comparison, indeed, the suspect in all these cases was the same person. Thus, a joint task force was established. The scope of the announcement needs to be expanded. It should be broadcast across various media, including television. Our Weibo account should also be included. The publicity department will specifically arrange this for tomorrow. On the 5th day after the incident, while the investigation was still in full swing, suddenly, a tip-off call came in. The caller was a doctor on the highway. He said that a couple of days ago while patrolling the highway, he discovered a traffic accident, and he took the injured person to the provincial hospital. It wasn't until the next day when he saw the newspaper that he realized he was the one who saved himself. It turned out to be a suspect the police were pursuing. After understanding the situation, the police immediately rushed to the hospital. According to the hospital surveillance, sure enough, this man was the suspect they had been desperately searching for. But at this time, the man had already escaped from the hospital. In addition, the police also found at the auto repair shop a small truck that had been smashed beyond recognition, and based on photos taken before the vehicle got on the highway, it seems this vehicle must have hit something on the highway. The small truck was found, but the suspect had vanished without a trace. However, this time he left an important clue: a temporary residence permit and a dagger. These items were when the suspect was sent to the hospital. The emergency center safeguarded them, since the suspect fled without paying the medical fees. These things were also left behind. After identification, the blood stains remaining on the dagger came from the victim, Aim. The suspect is named Shuai Xinzhuang. He is 45 years old. He is from Lixian, Gansu. Information shows. Xue Xinzhuang was sentenced in 2008 for theft. Was sentenced to 10 months in prison. This person has come to Lanzhou to work multiple times. And worked at a brick factory in Shuping town for 3 years. The police quickly drove to the brick factory. And the boss said that Xue Xinzhuang had been dismissed long ago. But 2 days before the incident, Xue Xinzhuang had just been there. And his purpose for coming was to borrow money. The boss found a reason to send him away. And explained to the police his reasons for dismissing Xue. First, Xue Xinzhuang was lazy and idle. He couldn't work 3 days in a month. Yet he kept lounging around in the employee dormitory. There is an even more important point. That is, he suspected Xue Xinzhuang of being a murderer. It turns out that 6 months before the incident, an employee of the brick factory was murdered in the dormitory. And Xue Xinzhuang's dormitory is right next to the victims. At that time, the investigating officers had no direct evidence. And this case remained unsolved. The special investigation team immediately retrieved the case files of the brick factory incident. After a forensic examination, the angle of the wounds on the brick factory employee, as well as the force application situation, everything matches perfectly with May's case. The victim was also stabbed multiple times with a sharp weapon. He cruelly stabbed the victim's neck dozens of times. Kill that victim. 6 days after the incident, the special investigation team received another public tip-off. The suspected target of the suspect, who appeared at the Songjiaden vegetable market. The informer, Xiao Shi, also learned about it through the newspaper. That this person was the major crime fugitive the police were looking for. I gave him a call. That person who came over is the one from the newspaper. There's about 100 meters behind the two of us. This person behind us right now. It's not like he offered us a reward. I just want to catch this person no matter what. The task force quickly arrived at the scene. They immediately captured the suspect. They checked his body. What are you doing? Don't move, don't move, don't move. Stop it. Knife. The subtitle guy has fallen again. Xue Xinzhuang, say whatever you have to say. The subtitle guy has fallen again. I don't know anything when asked. Suspect Xue Xinzhuang was arrested. But he shook his head, clueless when asked about it. He refuses to admit his criminal acts. How do you know? If I don't know, then you must have arrested the wrong person. You've made a mistake in the arrest. Why do you say you have nothing to say? Even the bad things are left unsaid. But does that mean the police can't do anything if you don't talk? Let's provide some background here. Although the suspect's confession, it is one of the crucial pieces of evidence. But in the face of conclusive evidence, even without any confession, a conviction can still be achieved. At that time, there were footprints left at the scene. The sole of his shoe is, it is a pair of casual shoes, which matches as well. Additionally, there are bloodstains on him. There are bloodstains on his jeans. We have collected all of these. Even in a situation where these things are solid proof, it's useless if you don't admit it. Even with no confession, it is still the same legally. You can still be held criminally responsible. Ultimately, Xue Xinzhuang confessed his criminal actions. 6 months ago, he was at the brick factory. Just because of 10 yuan. He brutally killed his co-worker. What is this house used for? For killing. After killing his co-worker, Xue Xinzhuang returned to his hometown and hid for half a year. Seeing that the police had not found him, he returned to Lanzhou again. While wandering around, he encountered May, who was soliciting customers. He said it would cost 30 yuan. I said no problem. In fact, Xue Xinzhuang didn't have a penny on him. When he got inside, Ame asked him to take the money first. But Xue Xinzhuang developed the idea of murder and robbery. After killing Ame, Xue Xinzhuang stole a car to return to his hometown. On the way, he had another malicious thought. He consecutively hit and killed 2 people. He injured 1 person. Later, he ran out of gas on the highway. He voluntarily rear-ended a large truck. He tried to cover up the traces of the vehicle hitting people. Currently, Xue Xinzhuang has been arrested on suspicion of intentional homicide. The police suspect he is involved in other crimes. He needs to be investigated and evidence collected before a retrial. The case is now concluded. What would you like to hear in the next episode? Feel free to leave a comment.